gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And the city was pure gold like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass.
The Lord promised better things for us, okay? Because the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, has a favorite people. And he's going to give this favorite people a heavenly kingdom. A kingdom that's blueprinted and formatted and patterned after his mind. How he want a kingdom to be.
And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
Psalms chapter 84 and verse 10. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. So one day in the kingdom of heaven is better than 1,000 of your best days on this side, man. Let me repeat that again. One single day in the kingdom of heaven is better than 1,000 of your best days on this side, man. Okay? Where things were better for you. Moments that you can reminisce on and say, yeah, that was a good day. The kingdom of heaven blows it out the park, man. It blows it out the water. Just one day. Not to mention, the Heavenly Father, he's going to stretch out the time. He's going to expand the time so you can enjoy your immortality. You can enjoy your life. And the Lord said in Wisdom of Solomon, he created the Israelite man to be an image of his own eternity, man. We're going to be a likeness of his own eternity, man. We're going to be many most highs, man. We're going to be many most highs. Okay? God's on earth under Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And also what's going to make us gods? These laws, statutes, commandments, and us judging by the laws, statutes, commandments, but also these laws being in our inward parts, making us those perfect judges. Not to mention, we experience these different reincarnations in this wicked flesh, so we know how to judge the flesh. We know how to judge this body because we've been in this body many times. Okay? But once again, the kingdom of heaven is going to be patterned after the mind of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, a righteous paradigm. Oh my God.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and this sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh by Shema Shai. Okay. And what I want to get into today is dealing with the sure mercies of David. All right. And we're going to go into the character of David. Okay. Because, as the Lord has certain things happen, certain things get exposed. Well, one thing we have to understand, the Lord does everything. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get into the scriptures, because I got a lesson, the spirit was on me, to put a lesson together dealing with the sure mercies of David. So we're going to go into the character of David, because everyone, likes to talk about, the mercies of David, which, that is, all right, that the mercies of David, is a comfort, knowing that when we do fall, the Lord has mercy. Okay. But mercy is not to be abused. Okay. And there's a certain conduct, there's a certain character that King David had before he got to the point where he needed mercy. Okay. And we have to keep that in mind. You see, just as Christians like to throw, all right, this Jesus Christ character around as a do as thou wilt. Okay. Pretty much a do as thou wilt standard. Okay. They use Jesus Christ, to push a do as thou wilt mindset. All right. You have Israelites that try to go into the mercies of David, as if that's a cop out, okay, for abusing mercy, man. Okay. Mercy is to be used, not abused. And that's something that we're learning within this walk. Now, you go here to the book of Romans 8:28 and says, we know that all things work together for good to them, all right, that love the Most High, to them who are called according to his purpose. Okay, so when we see these back and forth, when we see certain things get exposed and, the Lord, all right, doing particular things, we have to know the Spirit is always talking to the churches, man. Okay, and we're going to deal with the spiritual aspect of what's going on, these talking points that are coming up. Okay, in the Spirit, we're going to deal with these things, all right, because, to the point that we don't give a damn, what else comes out. Me personally, all right, enough has came out, for the Lord to have the effect that he wants. Okay, certain talking points, certain exposure of how, our people, are full of shit. Okay, those that know that they're Israelites, and there's a few talking points that's going to be addressed. All right, and this is one of them. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's for the edification of the elect, and we're called according to his purpose. Okay, from the beginning, everything's going to work in our favor. So as we see judgment and exposure going forth, all right, we're going to use these things to work in our favor. And it begins with us looking inwardly. Okay. that's the first phase is fear the Lord, which should call self-reflection. Okay. Because it was just his time. All right. Dealing with that guy Alazar, the Lord, pulled his ticket. All right. To be exposed. Now, how it go forth, with him and Yahweh by Shema Shai going forth, okay, we will see, okay, but we know one thing, all right, mercy, okay, has been given, and mercy was abused in that situation. Now we're at the point of judgment, okay, so as we go here, we have to remember, we talk about the sure mercies of David, well, we're going to get into the character of David, okay, and then we're going to deal with those sure mercies. Okay, now let's go here. Let's get the book of Romans. All right, understanding what mercy is for. Okay, it's the book of Romans, chapter 2. And I'll get this in the NLT. Well, all right, it's the book of Romans, chapter 2, verse 4. Okay, in the NLT, it says, "Don't you see how wonderfully kind, tolerant, and patient the Most High is with you?" Okay, now you look at this situation, and we're just using this situation for, all right, a teaching point. Okay, the details of it, hey, Shit, you know. But we're gonna use this situation for a talking point. It says, "Don't you see how wonderfully kind, tolerant, and patient the Most High is with you?" Okay, and dealing with that guy, you know, it's been a decade of him being warned to sit his ass down somewhere, man. Okay, not from just GMS. Multiple people tried to tell this man to sit his ass down. He doing too much. Okay, but he was still within the tolerant, all right, and the patience of the Most High. Okay, so now when you keep reading, says, does this mean nothing to you? Can't you see that his kindness is intended to turn you from sin? Okay, so the kindness of the Lord is intended to turn us from sin. This mercy is every day. We in mercy now. Okay, everybody, you know, like mercy is doesn't show up. All right, every time you get judged, mercy is here now. We're in mercy now. Okay, when we're not being judged by default, we're in mercy. Okay, so within mercy, we should be improving on things before we have to get jacked up. Okay, we should correct ourselves within mercy before the Lord has to intervene and expose things. Okay, does bodily harm to us, man. Okay, as the scripture saying, let's get this, you know. So then we're gonna get into the lesson. All right, let's get this in First Corinthians. I believe it's 11 and 31. First Corinthians 11, okay, and 31. It says, for if we judge ourselves, we should not be judged. Okay, so this is why self-examination, taking heed to counsels, taking heed to the elders, the Lord has it set up to where we have spiritual leadership. You go into the apostles and elders, they're spiritual, all right, leadership. Men with experience, okay, that are easy accessible, that are easily accessible, okay, for watching their videos, asking questions, asking about breakdowns, okay, live streaming all the time. You see, so we have all the tools we need, all right, to guide us in this thing. But when you ignore, okay, everything that the Lord has set up, and you become willful, then the Lord has to intervene. Eventually, the Lord is going to intervene. Okay, so you read First Corinthians 11:31. For if we judge ourselves, self-examination, having discernment in the spirit, and we should mature in having discernment in the spirit. Okay, we know ourselves, man. No one knows us like us, man. Okay, we should know when we doing too much. Okay, when we too far one way, when we're off balance, when we're doing too much, when we're not doing enough as we should. We should know that before anyone. Okay, now sometimes it gets to the point to where brother might have to tell you, okay, and then if it goes beyond that, then the Lord gonna tell you, man. Okay, but as we mature in this thing, we should get to the point to where we should have self-awareness in the spirit. Okay, where it doesn't get to that point. You see, because as we can see, the mercy of the Lord eventually runs out. Okay, and then comes correction. All right, now if you, okay, all of the elect, if we are of the elect, okay, verse 32, but when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord that we should not be condemned with the world. So if we are the elect, the Lord gonna keep us in tight. He gonna chasten us and make us get in order. If we are the elect, he gonna do some things, and it can come with embarrassment, man. That's a part of it. King David, they speak about the mercies of David, but what about the embarrassment of David? That came with it. Okay, the mercy was that he didn't get put to death, but there still was a judgment. Okay, just like if you do something that's worth 25 years, okay, but you only get 2, Okay, then you have to do community service for 6 months in your neighborhood. Well, that's mercy. Okay, but you have to deal with being, that shame. Okay, of that community service, or checking in, to a parole officer. You still have to deal with that. Okay, so King David didn't get off scot-free. He just didn't get the punishment he deserved. Okay, that was the sure mercies of David. That's why we find ourselves in particular situations and see the Lord chasten. If we are the elect, the Lord chasten us, all right, for our good. Okay, to get us right, to get us where we need to be, man, so we can be pleasing to Him. All right, but if you're not of the elect, the Lord just gonna take away His mercy, and He gonna do a number on you, man. You see? So that's why there's no room for pride in this thing, man. We're all at the mercy of Yahweh Bashim Shai at the end of the day. Let's get this real quick in what's that? Galatians 5. All right, this is the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 13. It says, "For brethren, you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another." Okay? So this liberty that we have is not an occasion to the flesh. And what is the liberty? The liberty is that we don't get punished according to the law. Okay? We're free from the punishment, all right, that will come with the law. So there's certain things that we do that deserve death. Okay? But Yahweh Shai, all right, voided it out. Okay? But He didn't do it for us, all right, to sin willfully. No, He did it for us to grow in this grace period, man. And it says what? By love serve one another. Okay? And if I'm teaching you wrong doctrine, I'm not serving you. I don't care how many lessons I do. If I'm not teaching you right doctrine, if I'm not being an example on how to be in day to day, it doesn't matter how many lessons I do. Okay? That's not serving. Okay? All these gimmicks, that's causing people to stumble. If I'm a stumbling block, no matter how thoroughly I go into a breakdown, but if my day-to-day actions cause you to stumble, if things I put on camera cause you to stumble, that's not true love. Okay? If I'm grifting you out of money, if I'm selling you everything that's not nailed down, that's not serving one another in love. Okay? So we have this liberty in which, we don't have the harshness, okay, of the law, which at the end of the day, you still can only go so far for the Lord to intervene. Okay? So it doesn't like judgment don't exist. Okay? It's just not under the strictness of that first covenant. Okay? And then when you go into the word liberty, all right, I wonder let me see what it say in the NLT. Okay, and Jake has used their liberty to become worse niggas than what they were in the world, because now they've turned the truth into merchandise. So now they have money that they didn't have in the world. Okay, now they're worse niggas, man. Okay, so you go here in the NLT, it says, "For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters. But don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love." Okay? So this liberty that we have, all right, of not being under the punishment, okay, of the strict, the strict condemnation of the law, is for us to serve one another in love, to build each other up, to edify, to sincerely edify. Okay, and not partially, man. You can't be edifying at certain points, but then be a stumbling block in other points, man. That defeat the purpose, man. Okay, if I come put you a brand new window in your house, okay, but then I go destroy your floors, then what's the point? You see? put brand new tires on your car, but then bust all the windows. What's the point? Nah, man, you gotta edify. All right, in sincerity, man, doing things that build up, man, in all aspects of this thing, man. Okay, so let's get this word liberty because it's a definition that stood out to me. Then we'll get into these accounts. All right, it's gonna be a little lengthy, so y'all, hey, know how it be. Tap in with me. Ratazar. But let's go here to liberty. Okay, in the Greek.
Strong's G 1657. Eleutheria. Eleutheria.
All right. Eleutheria. Okay. It says liberty. All right. Fancy liberty. All right. It says liberty to do as one pleases. And see, that's what Jake has done with the liberty, because they doing particular things and not being punished. But see, the Lord is testing our integrity too, man. Okay? Because integrity is doing the right thing just because. And that's the mindset that the Lord is dealing with. It shouldn't take, the punishment of death for me not to want to commit adultery. Okay? To steal, to bear false witness. Okay? To worship other gods, man. Nah, man, because it's the right thing to do. Okay? And that's how you know someone's true intent with integrity, because if someone is under imminent threat of death, okay, well, you will always have to question their sincerity and their integrity. If the threat of death wasn't there, well, how would they really be? So this grace period is exposing as well. Okay, living double lives. All right, but you go into true liberty. It says true liberty, and this is the one that stood out to me. All right, it says true liberty is living as we should, not as we please. Okay, true liberty is living as we should, not as we please. Okay, so when we get into what true liberty is living as we should, not as we please, man. Okay, and that takes integrity, that takes character, man. It takes faith. Okay, so I'm gonna say this, man. Like, we gotta really examine ourselves, man, and if we doing things, all right, hey, behind the scene, okay, hey, you gotta look at this as mercy. Like, you look at the Lord Jack, all right, this guy up, okay, his pride, he's still trying to be prideful, but hey, it'll never be the same. Okay, but at the end of the day, we see the Lord has exposed, particular things. We have to take this as a warning, man. Okay, and really, look into our closet and check our closet, man. Okay, make sure we're not doing things worthy to be exposed, man. Okay, talking, like gossiping, and you sisters, you might be gossiping and little cliques and got your little bullshit going on. Better cut that shit out. Better cut that shit out. Okay. As brothers, man, we live in double lives and got all this going on in our background. Hey, that shit better get cut out. That's the main thing that we should take away from this, man. But there's a few talking points, that we're going to get into, as days progress, man, and it's perfect going into the time of Passover, man. So let's go here. All right. So yeah, let's get this in I think there's Isaiah. Is it 50? 55? Might be 56. All right. So I started at 1 and read down. And what we're going to do, we're going to go into the life of King David, and see King David's character. All right. This is Isaiah 55 and 1. It says, "Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that have no money, come ye, buy and eat. Yeah, come buy wine and milk without money and without price." And this is this truth, as we all, were thirsting in the world, for truth. We know something in us knew like the church ain't it. You felt that void, okay? And that was, our spirit thirsting for the truth, man, whatever we was into. Okay, everyone has their story, man, where they came to a point to where we had a thirst, for truth. All right, and as we found this word, as that thirst began to get quenched, through Yahweh Shai, okay, through the prophets that the Lord set up. All right, so wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfy not? Okay, because there was a time when, we used to go to 2 churches in one day. Spending their time tithing in 2 churches, okay, but still, void when it came to understanding the Bible, okay, still was empty, okay, when it came on certain understandings, man, still was drawing blanks, okay. It says, "Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your souls delight itself in fatness," man. That's the true understanding, and the Lord has set up buffets of truth, all right, in these latter days, man. Okay, and what is that doing, man? That's nourishing the elect, okay, with instructions, okay, with doctrine, you see, with discipline. All right, now verse 3 says, "Incline your ear and come unto me, hear, and your soul shall live." And here goes into doing, man. And when you hear, let's see if it give us some. I ain't looked it up in a while. Okay, so when you hear, all right. Oh, come on, man. You experience an unexpected error. What the hell Blue Love doing, man? Hold on. Let's see this word here. If not, I got a precept. Yeah, they tripping. All right. Let me finish this. Okay, it says, "Incline your ear and come unto me, hear." All right, and you incline your ear to submit. It says, "And your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David." Okay, and there's a standard that's required. Okay, for the sure mercies of David. Okay, that don't mean you can wild out and then when judgment come, okay, and you get the hollow sure mercies of David. No, man, there's a conduct that comes with that. Okay, that's why you go here to St. John, and then we'll get that in. Matter of fact, is it 14? All right. Okay, St. John 14:14. It says, "If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it." Okay. "If you love me, keep my commandments." All right. And what was Yahweh Shai's 2 main commandments? Okay. Love the Heavenly Father with all thy soul. Okay. And love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay. If you love your neighbor as yourself, would you push false accusations on your neighbors? Okay. Would you use your platform to push lies against your brothers? Okay. To lie to your congregation, to grift your congregation if you love your neighbors? Okay. Would you not tell them what the MOTB is? All right. So, sure mercies of David, there's a standard connected to that. Okay. You go to, you got women, okay, taking up, for this guy Alazar, which that's off. No one's going to tell her to sit her ass down. Okay, here it is. They can wild out, do what they want. Okay, no correction going forth. Okay, there's no restrictions. Okay, on what to do and what not to do. But then they want to holler, sure, mercy of David, man. It don't work like that, man. Okay, you go to James chapter 1. Okay, in 21, it says, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity and naughtiness, and receive the meekness. All right, the engrafted word is see with meekness, man. Okay, meekness, man. That's a requirement, man. Okay, well, you're cussing out the apostles and elders and calling men that are on the front line pushing this word, little niggas and all that. That's not meekness, man. Okay, it said the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Now let's get this word. It might not. I forgot. Blue letter tripping. You know. Let's see. That's strange. Let me see. I might can look it up. Super. Because even when you go into the word superfluity, let's go right here real quick. So when you look up this word, all right, superfluity, got on the Google. So you go to superfluity, and this is what, all right, superfluity. It says an unnecessarily or excessively large amount, all right, or number of something. Okay, excess, overabundance. All right. In other terms, all right, says an unnecessary thing, doing too goddamn much, man. And we're all guilty, doing too much in certain points. Okay, but this guy here was that times 1,000, man. For 10 years straight, he had a 10-year run of doing too goddamn much, man. Always pushing the limit. Okay, always being controversial for the sake of attention, man. Okay, doing unnecessary shit, man. You see, and the scripture tell us to put away with that. This man did everything the scripture said don't do, but then he's able to go cut, Dr. Brown, okay, on the debate, and you niggas are okay. You followers was okay. Okay, nobody never told this man to stop over there, man. The men that was warning him, starting with the apostles and the elders of GMS, other men. Okay, you had certain brothers from other camps. Okay, telling him to sit his ass down. I think it was HOD. He got away from them when they started telling him to sit his ass down. Okay, he ran away from all correction. He removed himself from all correction and surrounded himself with fanboys and cheerleaders. Okay, and this is the end result. Okay, even now, nobody telling his ass to sit down. All right, if he did a live stream today, niggas and them fanboys and them cheerleaders will be there, making him worse. And that's another lesson, man. Because the way that they doing this, man, this is how them single mothers be fucking them boys up. Okay, to where them boys do all type of shit. All right, the mothers don't hold them accountable, and they blame the world for their son. All right, flaws, man. Okay, it ain't his fault. It's the world fault. Okay, and that's how them single mothers be messing them boys up, man. And this is how his congregation doing him. Just like them single mothers do them boys, man. Okay, the majority of them, the majority, it's always an exception to the rule, but the majority of those single mothers. All right, so Let's go back here. Which that's another lesson, within itself. Okay. Well, you keep reading down, verse 22 said, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves." Okay. So we're commanded to be doers of the word, man. Okay. These men turned the house of the Lord into merchandise, which Yahweh Shai spazzed out about that. Okay. Scripture tell you not to teach with a hat, so they throw away all the writings of Paul. You see, these men was making whole books of the Bible, okay, void, because it had something in there that condemned them. This is nothing like what these men were doing. Because now as we going over this guy highlight tape, it was terrible, man. Hakai and Hassad, they was there too. Them niggas not excused because they on the side. They was in that shit too. Okay? So you look at this man highlight tape, and it's terrible, man. Okay? It says, for if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in the glass, for he beholdeth himself and goeth his way when you're out in the world, when you're off camera, okay, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was, man. And when these guys are not on camera, you see what they was into, man. Okay, all that being perfect in the law, them guys weren't scribing for that off camera, man. That was just a teaching point to sell merchandise and to be against Yahweh Shai. Okay, and now they're singing mercy. Well, where the mercy gonna come from? Okay, and when you teach, all right, this guy go back to teaching. Okay, is he gonna teach perfection in the law? Because that argument is done, and you still got them trying to run to the law saying that he didn't do nothing unlawful. What? You see? And it just shows that Jake, morality don't exist, man. There's no morale amongst a lot of guys with fringes on. Okay? Now, let's go here. Since we talked about the sure mercies of David. Now, when you go into King David, okay, which, Lord will, we can touch on this at another time, man. Just really go from Samuel, on into Kings. But what we want to do now is just hit some highlights. Okay. Now, we know King David, all right, became famous with his bout with Goliath. And when he fought Goliath, what did King David show? He showed faith. Okay. He showed faith going up against Goliath when everyone else, okay, was terrified. Okay. Now, after he went up against Goliath, he was Saul, okay, took him in, okay, and David and Jonathan became tight, okay, and matter of fact, I started at 1, okay, but King David, was beloved of everyone in Israel, okay, even amongst heathens, he had a reputation, he had a name. Okay, but brother can post that and comment, boy. A good name is better, than gold or precious ornament. I think it's one in Proverbs and maybe one in Psalms, but this 1 Samuel 18:1, it says, "And it came to pass when he had made an ending of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul." And this goes into that brotherhood, man. Loving thy neighbor as thyself. To the point that Jonathan, sided with David, when Saul had demons on him. And here it is, Jonathan was the heir to the throne, but he was like, nah, it should be David, because he admired the character that David had. And remember, Jonathan is, maybe scholars, I was looking at some numbers before, got on the live screen. So Jonathan could have been anywhere from 12 to 15 years older than King David. but he admired King David because of the spirit that was on, the character that he had. Okay, the faith that he showed. Okay, because remember, Jonathan was a mighty man. Jonathan got down. Okay, but it wasn't his lot to go against Goliath. That was King David's lot. Okay, but Jonathan was a bad man. He got some stories, accounts of him getting down on the Philistines, man. Okay, but he admired King David, before for his character, his faith, man. He was beloved. Okay, it says, and Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house. So Saul took King David in, like David was that guy. They just that guy that they love being around. Like, nah, you don't go, you with me now. And Jonathan was like, so this is my guy. Okay. And then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David and his garments, even to his sword and to his bow and to his girdle. Okay. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him and behaved himself wisely. Okay. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people and also in the sight of Saul's servant. Now remember, King David is not even old enough to be in the military. Okay. Scholars say he was either 13, anywhere from 12 to 15 when he fought Goliath, and you had to be 20. Okay, so King David was given rank amongst the military, man. Okay, he was an exceptional man. He was beloved, a man after the Most High's own heart. Okay, and everyone knew David was that guy. Okay, but guess what? David never let it go to his head. Okay, not in this time. I say you get on down. All right, he had a slip up. Okay, but we're going into before then. Okay, so it says that David behaved himself wisely. Man, let's get this in another. Let's see. Get this in NLT. What does it say? It says, whatever Saul asked David to do, David did it successfully. So David was in order. Okay, even though remember, Saul was scared of Goliath. David took him down, but David stayed in order under Saul. Okay, he didn't get proud. Jacob do, one breakdown that he didn't hear the apostles do, and all of a sudden he's over the apostles now. Okay, nah, man, King David stayed under order under Saul. Okay, he did whatever Saul asked him to do. He was obedient. He was in order. Okay, so Saul, remember, and everybody liked David. Okay, he still stayed in order. So Saul made him a commander over all the men of war. All right, an appointment that was welcomed by the people and Saul's officers alike, man. Okay, now let's go back into let's go back into all right, so this is when Saul is gonna become jealous of David in verse 18 and 6. All right, I mean, it's like 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 6. And it came to pass as they came when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And when the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul has slain his 1,000 and David his tens of thousands, and Saul was very wroth. And they saying, all right, and the saying pleased him, and he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000. To me, they have ascribed but thousands, and what can he have more but the kingdom? So this is when Saul started being a whole ass nigga, man. Because King David wasn't even thinking like that. Okay, remember, King David was his servant. Okay. So in his mind, he like, like the Roman Caesars. That's how he was thinking, like an Edomite, the Roman Caesars. Because during the time of Rome, if you was a successful general, okay, you became a threat to the emperor. All right. And even Nero, he made his top general kill himself. Okay. Because he became, too successful in battle. It meant he was beloved by, those legions, for being, a renowned general, and Nero made him kill himself because he felt threatened. Okay. And that's why he had to go, get Vespasian when, the Jake revolted, because Nero couldn't do nothing with Jake, man. Okay. But going back into it, it says, and Saul eyed David from that day forward, and it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from the Most High came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hands as other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand, and Saul cast a javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David because of the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul. Okay, so here it is, the demons on Saul, but the Lord with David. Okay. You see, here it is, David, is under threat of imminent death for listening to Saul. Saul, the one that sent him to battle. When you send someone to battle, okay, what do you want them to do? You see? Because at the end of the day, you're the king, all right? So you're still accredited for the victory, okay? But Saul had that whole ass nigga spirit on him, man. You see? So here it is, David, has to endure, all right, wrongdoing, man. Okay? And here it is, Alazar, Sakari, them guys got kicked out of GMS. And what did they do? They went crazy. Here it is, they got kicked out for tripping. Okay? They ran that Mercy to the ground, with the brothers. They got kicked out for tripping. And then what did they do? They became whole ass niggas, man. Okay? So this whole the mercies of David, well, if that's the Lord's, wish on that situation, but let's go into David. We got to go into David. We're going to compare this guy to David. His track record with David's track record. Okay, it says, and David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. So you see, David still remained the same, had the same character, man. Okay, no matter what Saul was on, he had that same character, man. It said, wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Israel, and it's just like how Cain did Abel. Cain slew Abel because Abel behaved himself wisely. Okay, in the spirit of you can receive who Abel was, man. Okay, so Saul had the Edomite spirit on him, man. Okay, Abel, was slew because his sacrifice was acceptable, man. And the sacrifice of Saul wasn't, because remember, Samuel cursed Saul out, man, and told him, the Lord done rejected you, man. So that's the thing, too. The Lord reject people, man. If you're rejected to be a reprobate, that's just what it is. Okay? Everybody don't fall under the mercies of David, man. And we pray we fall under the mercies of David, man. We don't know why we serve the Lord in fear and trembling. Okay, but on the same time, hey, we not wilding, we not doing what these guys doing, man. Okay, you see, it says, but all Israel and Judah loved David because he went out and came in before them, and David was a servant. Okay, David was a servant. He was on the front line. They were like, that's the guy. They like, these nations fear us because the Lord was working through King David. You gotta understand what King David was doing. He was making nations bow down to Israel. The Lord was using King David to make nations bow down, man. Okay, we'll get that. All right. Now, Okay. Uh um what is it David says? So Saul tried to set him up, okay, if you read on, okay. But even I want to read this in verse 30, 1 Samuel 18 and 30 says, then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass after they went forth that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much said by. So even amongst the Philistines, all right, King David had a name above all the servants of Saul. He was still in the position of a servant. Okay? And King David was never conspired against King Saul. He never told King Saul, look, you need to retire, you old. Okay? And King Saul, you know, was at least 30 years old King David or more. Okay, and that's why King David, respecting him as a king and as an elder, man. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go on down the line. All right, because King David was on the run from Saul for maybe like 15, 16 years, man. King David didn't become king till he was 30. All right. He was anointed, as a young man, I say 12, 11, 12, you know, around that time, give or take, could have been a little older, but he was anointed as a young man by Samuel, but he didn't sit the throne till he was 30. He was on the run from uh, uh, um, Saul for a while, man. Okay, we reading this a few chapters, but it was a while. So this is on down when you get to First Samuel. Okay, but this shows you, this is years later. Okay, this is let's see. All right, so now this is First Samuel 25. So this is when Abigail, all right, King David been out on the run on the wilderness, him and his men, mainly Judites, and Nabal, so King David's men, they're watching, the fields of Nabal, and he sends his men, to Nabal to ask for victuals. And Nabal spazzed out, who is David? A lot of servants run away from their master. Who is David? Very disrespectful nigga, man. Okay. And King David got word back, and King David and his men, all right, was finna come get busy with the house of Nabal, man. Okay. They was going to destroy their whole lineage, every male, all right, descendant of Nabal and every male servant. Okay. But King David would have been in the wrong, but he was pissed. Okay, but the Lord sent Abigail to reason, and she's gonna remind him, all right, of what's at stake. Okay, then she's gonna remind him of himself. Okay, now this is First Samuel 25 and 18 said, then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 bottles, all right, of wine, all right, and those bottles goes into skins, so those were gallons and gallons of wine. All right, it wasn't 2 bottles of Colorado. All right, it says, and 5 sheep ready dressed, and 5 measures of parched corn, and 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on asses. And she said unto her servants, go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal. And it was so, as she rode on asses, that she came down by the covert of the hill, and behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them. Now David had said, surely in vain have I kept all that this fellow have in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed all that pertained unto him, and he hath requited me evil for good. Now, you know, you think about it from King David perspective, you know, he protected this man's livestock, okay, and you know, he asked for victuals, and Nabal didn't give it. Okay, now Nabal was a whole ass nigga because, you know, going back to brotherly love. Okay, you know, you just, you know, that's a no brainer. Okay, but him and David didn't have no agreement, so he wasn't entitled, you know, to give King David and his men anything. Okay, but there would have been, you know, a token of kindness. Okay, so David didn't have the green light, okay, to do nothing to Nabal. There was another Lord, you know. You see, so Abigail is going to be the voice of reason. Okay, so it's so and more also do the Most High to the enemies of David, if I leave all that pertain to him by morning, like any that pisseth against the wall, and it's all males. Okay, it says, now Abigail, and when Abigail saw David, she hasted and lighted off the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground and fell at his feet and said, upon me, my Lord, upon me, let this iniquity be. And let thy handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thine audience and hear the words of thine handmaid. Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, his father is with him. Okay. But I, thy handmaid, saw not the young men of my Lord who didst, whom thou didst sin. Now, therefore, my Lord, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, seeing that the Lord have withholden thee from coming to shed blood, and from avenging thyself with thy own hand, now let thine enemies and they that seek evil to my Lord be as Nabal. Okay, so she like, look, you know, like, you know, we didn't see those men that you sent. You know, if I would have seen them, we would have sent victuals. Okay, but my husband, you know, you can't talk to him, because even the messenger, okay, that King David sent, you know, the messenger of the house of Nabal, all right, you know, he heard when Nabal told King David messenger, and that's who went and told Abigail. He was like, look, you know, can't nobody talk to your husband, man. King David and them on the way. You know, it's finna go down. Okay, and the Lord used that to intervene in the situation, because David was finna stain his good name. Okay, all right, and it shows you that David still had that good name. So when you keep going, it says that now this blessing which thy handmaid have brought unto my Lord, let it even be given unto the young men that follow my Lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thine handmaid, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house. All right, so the spirit on her. Okay. Now that doesn't mean, you know, that this is a precept for women to go teach. All right, because you know Eve is looking for anything. Okay, the spirit just on her in this moment. Okay, it's for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house. Okay, I'm quite sure she didn't understand that this house was going to be, you know, the hopeful elect in this time, that, you know, the governing body of Israel forever. You see, but she understood that the Lord was dealing. Okay, it says, because my Lord fighteth the battles of the Lord, and evil have not been found in thee all thy days. Okay, so you see the name that David has amongst Israel. Okay, now compare that to the name Sakari has amongst Israel, Alazar. What these guys been on. Okay, so David's name is still, it is beloved, man. Like everybody was like, look, King David, that guy. And guess what? King David never got the big head to go up against Saul, to challenge Saul's throne. Okay, he let the Lord do it. That's why she was telling him, look, let the Lord keep playing it out. You know, the spirit was on her to be the voice of reasoning. Okay, let's see, we get this in another translation. Okay, so let's go to the NLT. It says, please forgive me if I have offended you in any way. The Lord will surely reward you with a lasting dynasty. His spirit was on Abigail. It said, for you are fighting the Lord's battle, and you have not done wrong throughout your entire life. And you have not done wrong throughout your entire life. Okay? So when we talk about the sure mercies of David, well, let's talk about David. Okay? Let's talk about King David, man. You see? So, lock you real quick. All right, so let's go from there. Now, let's get this. So when you get to 2 Samuel, all right. Now I think let's get 2 Samuel chapter 1. So this is when, so King Saul dies in chapter 25. So you get to 2 Samuel chapter 1. Okay. And David finds out about Saul's death, and this spiritual too. Okay. So guess who it is that tells him about Saul's death? Because Saul killed himself because he didn't want to get taken captive by them nasty ass Philistines. Okay. So he fell on his own sword. Okay. He told his armor bearer to do it, but his armor bearer, he didn't want to kill the king. Like Jake had honor and integrity, man. Okay. It said, now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites. Okay. And David had the slaughter of the Amalekites. Okay. Which, their rivalry is what we see today. Okay. The house of David. All right. And the elites. Okay. It says, and David abode 2 days in Ziklag. It came even to pass on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent. And this is Amalek. Okay. This is going to be an Amalekite. All right. It's going to come with his clothes rent. And he's going to pretend, like he killed Saul because he think he's going to get some reward from King David. So this devil, all right, Amalekite, rent his clothes as if he had a tussle with King Saul. Okay. And it says, an earth upon his head. And so it was when put some dirt on himself, like he been getting it in. It says, when he came to David, that he fell to the earth and did obeisance, all right, which is he bowed. And David said unto him, from whence comest thou? And he said unto him, out of the camp of Israel am I escaped. And David said unto him, how went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered that the people are fled from battle, all right, and many of the people also are fallen and dead, and Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also. And David said unto the young man, all right, that told him, knowest now, all right, how knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan, all right, his son be dead? And the young man that told him said, as I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, all right, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. All right, let me get this in the NLT. I might. All right. Verse 7 says, when he turned and saw me, he cried out, come to me, for me to come to him. How can I help? I asked. He responded, who are you? I'm an Amalekite I told him. Then he begged me, come over here and put me out of my misery, for I am in terrible pain and want to die. So I killed him. Then it says the Amalekite told David, for I knew he couldn't live. Then I took his crown and his armband, and I have brought them here to you, my Lord. Okay, and he's thinking he's going to get a reward. Okay, that's his thing. All right, and it was a similar account. When you go into Julius Caesar and Pompey after they had a civil war, and Pompey fled. Julius Caesar had got the ups on him, and he fled to Egypt. And when he got to Egypt, they beheaded Pompey, and they delivered Pompey head to Julius Caesar. And Julius Caesar, all right, hung the guy that did it. Because he didn't like how Pompey was done, even though there was a civil war. Okay. So going back, it says 2 Samuel 1:11 said David and his men tore their clothes in sorrow when they heard the news. All right. They mourned and wept and fasted all day for Saul and his son Jonathan and for the Lord's army and the nation of Israel, because they had died by the sword that day, man. So King David, he loved his brother like himself, man. Like first, Jonathan was his guy. Okay, and he still had reverence for Saul, even though Saul was tripping, and the men of the armies of Israel, because they was his brothers, man. So he wept. He had compassion, man. Okay. Then David said to the young man who had brought the news, "Where are you from?" And he replied, "I'm a foreigner, an Amalekite who lives in your land. Why were you not afraid to kill the Lord's anointed one?" David asked. Then, all right, and King David had fear of the Lord. Okay, and you look how Alazar and these guys been moving. Absolutely no fear. Okay, no fear how these guys been moving, man, and what they've been doing and saying. Okay, then David said to one of his men, "Kill him," so that the man thrust his sword into the Amalekite and killed them. So King David put him to death on the spot. It says, "You have condemned yourself," David said, "for you yourself confessed that you killed the Lord's anointed one." David song for Saul and Jonathan. Then David composed a funeral song for Saul and Jonathan, and he commanded that it be taught to the people of Judah. Okay, it was known as the song, all right, of the bow. All right, and it is recorded in the book of Jasher, but not the book of Jasher. Okay, that Esau got out. That's not the book. We don't have that book. Okay, it says your pride and joy, O Israel, lies dead on the hills. Oh, how the mighty heroes have fallen. Don't announce, all right, it said, don't announce the news in Gath. Don't proclaim it in the streets of Ashkelon, or the daughters of the Philistines will rejoice, and the pagans, all right, will laugh and triumph, because King David was all about his people, man. Okay, even though Saul was tripping, he was still about his people. Okay, and it says, "O mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew or rain upon you, nor fruitful fields producing offerings of grain, for there the shield, all right, for there the shield of the mighty heroes were defiled. The shield of Saul will no longer be anointed with oil. The bow of Jonathan was powerful, and the sword of Saul did its mighty work. They shed the blood of their enemies and pierced the bodies, all right, of mighty heroes." So he's giving, Saul and his son Jonathan their props, man, because Saul was a mighty man. Saul used to get down, in his heyday. Okay, so King David is reverencing these men. Okay, even him and Saul had there was a reverence he had for Saul, for King Saul. He said, "How beloved and gracious were Saul and Jonathan. They were together in life and in death. They were swifter than eagles, stronger than lions, man." Them Benjaminites. Okay, what all right, you see, Benjamins have some hell of a athletes, man. Okay, they have been dominating track and field for a while. But Benjamin has some hell of athletes. Okay. It says, "O woman of Israel, weep for Saul, for he dressed you in luxurious scarlet clothing and garments decorated with gold. Yeah, so hey, he giving all props to Saul, man. Like, hey, you women of Israel, like Saul, he did his thing, because when you win war, you get spoils. So King David, like, look, Saul dressed you in luxurious scarlet clothing and garments decorated with gold. So he's giving King Saul his accolades, man. And said he's not speaking about the alt that they had. He's not even worried about that anymore, man. Okay, integrity, honor. Okay, well, that's a lost art. Okay, and niggas have brought and Jake had brought that nigga shit into Israel, man. Okay, that low culture, man. Well, it's cool to be disrespectful to the elders. Well, it's cool, all right, to be a degenerate. Okay, no reverence. It says, how I weep for you, my brother Jonathan. Oh, how much I loved you, and your love for me was deep, deeper than the love of woman. All right, and Esau wicked ass and try to use this, on some most shit. All right, but this ain't what this talking about, man. He just had to type bun his brethren. Okay, it says, oh, how the mighty heroes have fallen, stripped of their weapons, they lie dead. Okay, so that shows you, all right, that even in Saul's death, King David had a certain type of character, man. Okay, so let's go from there, because when you get uh let's see, 2 Samuel, 2 Samuel 16, I started at verse 5. Mm-mm. So this is, I say, King, because you in 2 Samuel 16 now. So remember, King David, still is battling with, because even after the death of Saul, okay, the house of David and the uh, house of Saul, okay. Well, now this is after Salaki. This is after King David is on the run from Absalom, his son. So this is after King David, had committed that adultery. Okay, but you still, King David, you know, cause this after Psalms 51, David had repented, but David still had to be judged. He had to be put to shame, and he understood that. Okay, so you go here. So now King David just has fled from the palace. He's going into the wilderness because he got the heads up that Absalom was on the way. So this is after the adultery. So you go to 2 Samuel 16:5. It says, as King David came to Bahurim, a man came out of the village cursing them. It was Shimei, son of Gerah, from the same clan as Saul's family. Okay, he threw stones at the king and the king's officer and all the mighty warriors who surrounded. All right, who surrounded him. So it's King David and all these mighty warriors around him. All right, and you had this one man, throwing stones, because he's still bitter. Okay, about King David getting the throne from his family. All right, the house of Saul. Okay, so he's throwing stones and cursing David. All right, it says, get out of here, you murderer, you scoundrel. He shouted at David because it was known, what King David had done, dealing with Uriah. He had to bear that shame. All right. It said, the Lord is paying you back for all the bloodshed in Saul's clan. Okay, you stole his throne, and now the Lord has given it to your son Absalom. At last, you will take some of your own medicine, for you are a murderer. Okay, so this guy was still in his feelings, and he took this opportunity, to get a King David. Okay, so Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? So these are this is King David's son, not his son, King David's nephew. Okay, his daughter's son. Okay, Abishai. It said Abishai, son of Jeriah, demanded, "Let me go over and cut off his head." No, the king said, "Who asked your opinion? All right, you sons of Zariah." Okay, so King David like, "Nah, we're not gonna do that," because he wanted to go cut the man's head off. All right, it was been light work. Just send one hitter over there and he was out of there. But King David, he understood mercy, like, nah, this, we're gonna go into it. It said that the Lord has told him to curse me. Who are you to stop him? Then David said to Abishai and to all his servants, "My own son is trying to kill me. Doesn't this relative of Saul have even more reason to do so? Leave him alone and let him curse, for the Lord has told him, all right, to do it." Okay? And perhaps the Lord will see that I'm being wrong and will bless me because of these curses today. So he still has that character to leave it in the hands of the Lord. Okay? And this guy never, it says, so David and his men continued down the road, and Shammah kept pace with them on the nearby hillside, cursing as he went, throwing stones at David and tossing dust into the air. So he followed them, okay, throughout the wilderness, throwing stones and cursing, man. Okay, and that's just what sometimes, hey, the Lord put that dark cloud over you, man. Okay, but there's still mercy, because it's still not worse than what he could do. Okay, it's still not worse as what he could do. You see, so when you go here, and it shows you that King David had a spirit similar to Yahushua. Okay, because and Yahushua even had higher character than David, than King David, because he suffered and did no wrong, in their lifetime. Okay, but when you go here, let's go here. Yep. All right. Because as we have King, David is an example of character. Well, we have Yahushua, even a higher example of character. This is 2 Peter 2. All right, and nice. I think it's 1 Peter Salaki. All right, it's the book of 1 Peter chapter 2, going down to 19. Okay, it says, "For there is thanksworthy if a man for conscience toward the Most High endure grief, suffering wrongfully. For what glory is it if when you be buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently?" And King David was an example of that. And Yahushua would be the greatest example of that. But if you, when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently, that is acceptable with the Most High. And see, what's acceptable to the Most High is our conduct, man. Okay? Not according to the letter of the law, not being perfect in the law, but in integrity in these situations, man. Okay? The way Eleazar, all right, and Deacon Hakai was with him, the way that they handled, okay, the way that they handled, all right, their departure, that wasn't with integrity, man. Them being kicked out, the way that they handled it, that wasn't with integrity, man. They wasn't, if they felt they was done wrong, they didn't endure patiently, man. Okay, they became enemies to the men that taught them. Okay, sending guys to the camp to do harm to brothers, like, nah, man, them guys were tripping, been tripping. Okay, a decade run of tripping. Okay, matter of fact, let me see if we can find this real quick. You know, you get ready to close it out. I knew it was gonna be. Hey, it is what it is. I can find this video. There's a spirit that it came up today. I think this the channel it was on. Yeah, let's play this real quick. All right. And this is that guy. Her car. And a car right there with him. Okay. He didn't betray none of the characteristics, okay, of King David or Yahushua. Okay. This how these guys handle, adversity, man. Okay, like the nigga woman. So let's go here.
All right, y'all talking about your own mouth can
murder, fornication.
condemn you. Your own mouth condemns you. I never said I fully dedicated myself to the truth. I never said I put my hand to the plow in 08 to 011. All right, and I was never no pimp, which was another false witness you bear unto me. The Bible say that whoremongers shall have their place in the lake of fire. You calling me a pimp, you just put yourself in the lake of fire because you bore false witness to heart, but you calling somebody a 2/3. All right, but Ramlock, you sat there and was quiet, man. All right, y'all let this tyrant Tahar sit there and bully you and scare you. That goes for all the members of GMS. Stop being scared, man. Stand up and hold your leader accountable, man. Because we is making a stand as younger men, we young men, we making a stand as younger men to hold our elders and our leaders accountable.
That's
and
right.
If they're wrong, we're gonna call it out.
That's
it don't matter.
Right.
All right.
Right. You can do all your little videos. We don't give a fuck, man.
That was the point that I've been observing Great Millstone since 2008. That's the point. If you want to say I didn't come into the truth till I put my hand to the plow, well, that's fine. Then I didn't come until 2011. All right. And for the record, the scriptures say a priest, a Levitical priest, which I'm going to tribe of Levi, isn't supposed to start ministering until he's at the age of 20 years old. So when did I come in and start doing the work? A couple months after I turned 20, about 2 months after I turned 20. Now, according to the lunar calendar, because you were like 54, 55, according to the lunar calendar, you about 60 years old now. Isn't a Levitical priest supposed to retire? That's what's wrong with you. You running out of gas, man.
America before he actually brings it down. That's why it says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy force be covered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee." And what's the cup of the Lord's right hand?
All right, but go ahead.
Hey, and that's you always say Nate's men are zombies, man. Your men are zombies, man. You got to commit adultery or do some just blatantly wicked ass shit. Well, I was gonna say you got to be a transsexual or a homosexual. Hey, but there's proof that there's them type of activities happening within your camp.
That's
man.
right. No, everybody's gonna get to the bottom of your bullshit. All right, that's from Tahar on down, man.
That's
all right. I'm such a 2/3. Y'all always want to say something about my hair, Tahar. I've been talking to you in the inbox for like a year, my nigga. You mean to tell me you mean to say, oh, hey, what's up with that, brother? You see what I'm saying? You're full of shit, my nigga. All right, and everybody done found out about your ass. All right.
John chapter 10, verse 7. Then said Yahushua unto them again, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep."
Yahushua is the door. You not the Tahar, nigga. You not the door. Great Millstone is not the door. All right. The door is not going to be a false prophet and a slanderer and a false witness.
A liar.
A liar. The door is the truth, right? So ain't no lie in the door, my nigga. What's wrong with you? Go ahead, And look, if I'm cursing, man, guess what? That's why I got you. This is the only thing they respond to. You got Manassas I talk about. I call the elder a motherfucker. Where I learned that from? I learned it from y'all niggas, man. That's where I learned it from.
Right.
Where we at?
You hear these niggas asking them, are they single? What the fuck?
Yeah, so you see, how them guys handle it, man. Okay, and see, they wax way worse from that point on. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's get a couple more. And it's a lot, really. Going to King David character, I really left some stuff out. If the account when Jonathan's son, became crippled because he had to flee. He got between that civil war between the house of David and the house of Saul, and Jonathan's son had to flee, and he became crippled. But when King David set his throne, he finally set his throne. He asked, "Was there any remaining of the house of Saul?" And they told him about Jonathan's son. Okay, and Jonathan's son sat at King David's table with him. He had the honor. All right, he was an honorary guest in King David, in King David throne, man, his estates. Okay, in his home. Okay, and there's plenty more. When you go into it, you comb through it. It just exemplifies King David's character. But for time's sake, and it shows you the extensive, body of work that King David had. He sinned, he failed. Okay, but that wasn't his life. He slipped. And the Lord embarrassed him, and he had his son ended up being put to death. Behind that, and he had to live with that, man. So he didn't go unscathed, but he received mercy. All right, and ultimately mercy was who? King Solomon. Okay, and through the line of King Solomon, who would we eventually get? Yahweh, which was everybody's mercy. Okay, it says, "For what glory is it if when you be buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently? But when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently. This is acceptable with the Most High." All right, no, so that's acceptable to suffer patiently, man. Okay, letting the Lord, all right, figure it out, man. Just keep teaching. Okay, keep doing the right thing, and let the Lord sort things out, man. The Lord, because hey, guess what? The Spirit always intervenes, man, because there's stories of men that have, been separated from GMS, and the Spirit brought them back in. Okay, and then brothers have excelled. Okay, so and because their conduct was acceptable, and not saying that you have to be a part of GMS to be delivered. Okay, but you just have those examples of that, man. Okay, brothers having to, that's part of their walk to go through that. Okay, and brothers have suffered patiently in the Spirit, brought everything full circle, man. Okay, and then you have this situation. Okay, so for even here on 2, where ye call, because Yahweh Shai also suffered for us, leaving an example that ye should not follow, that ye should follow his steps. So Yahweh Shai left an example of how we should be. And this right now, we're drinking in a cup of Yahweh Shai. Like we got to endure being blamed for everything. Somehow GMS is being blamed for what's going on now, dealing with General Yohana. Okay, saying the Apostle Tahar is the reason black people don't like GMS, and they're like, what? Okay, this is why you see Israel is choosing Barabbas, all right, which right now is Alazar, over Yahweh Shai. Okay, but he left us an example of how to be. Hey, it is what it is, man. Okay, they gonna do what they gonna do. All right, somehow we to blame, and we just gonna keep pushing, man, and let the Lord work it out. Okay, it says, "Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth." So Yahweh Shai, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Okay, found himself being blamed for everything amongst Jake. Okay, Jake constantly trying to trip him up, and all he was doing was teaching about the kingdom. He's teaching to people in captivity about the kingdom, and somehow he was the problem. Okay, even the Zealots and Sakari, they was complaining about Roman taxation, but he's teaching of a kingdom. Okay, but it took patience. Just like King David, he had to have patience. Okay, King David displayed patience, man. He didn't rush to make himself king, man. He let the Lord play that out. He didn't even have a part in King Saul's death, man. The Lord played that out. Okay, Even after, they had skirmishes after King Saul's death, the Lord played this out with Abner, because we didn't even go to that. The way he threw a feast for the cousin of King Saul, Abner, when Abner came and, negotiated terms pretty much and gave, the kingdom over to David, because he was a king in Hebron over Judah for 7 years, and then he was given the rest of the tribes. Okay. 7 years later, after he reigned in Hebron. Okay. So even after he became a king, it was 7 more years of back and forth with the house of Saul. And then Abner gave him all of Israel, the rest of Israel, man. Okay. And King David threw a feast for Abner, man. And then Joab, underhandedly went, and killed Abner. Okay. Like I say, there's a lot of accounts that show the character of King David, man. Okay, it says, who, when he was reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth rightly, man. And we be wrong in situations, but all right, it ain't on us to go get our own vengeance. Okay, it ain't on us. Okay, to try to force, a victory. You see, so you get this in the NLT. All right, it says he did not retaliate when he was insulted, nor threaten revenge when he suffered. He left his case in the hands of the Most High, who always judges fairly, man. All right, just as King David did, Yahushua did. He knew he had to take that L. Okay, you see, and and just as King David always had the mindset of everybody. And when he fought Goliath, he was doing that for everybody. He wasn't doing it to get fame. That's why he remains King Saul's servant after that, man. He didn't try to politic his way to the throne. Okay, he understood that everybody was going to benefit off that, man, and the name of the Lord was going to be magnified, man. Okay, so you go here. All right, let's get this in the book of James, and we'll close out. This is the book of James, chapter 2, verse 13. It says, for he shall have judgment without mercy. All right, that have showed no mercy, man. Okay, so there comes a time when it just judgment and mercy leave. Now, ultimately, we know Esau, Edom is going to be the ultimate example of having no mercy. Okay, but you have Jake in this time that are not going to be shown any mercy in the time of judgment, man. All right, and a lot of those Jakes have fringes on. Okay, a lot of those women have head wraps on. Is the Lord not going to show mercy, man? In the time of judgment, eventually they'll get that mercy on in the kingdom when they're born into the kingdom. But we're in the time where the Lord is from the purge, man. Okay, and it says, in mercy rejoiceth against judgment. Now, let's get this in the NLT, and this is an example, okay, of the character of King David. Okay, well, the Lord, the Lord have mercy on whom he want to have mercy. Okay, but he put the spirit on King David to be merciful in certain situations. That's why you read in NLT, there will be no mercy for those who have not shown mercy to others. But if you have been merciful, the Most High will be merciful when he judges you. Okay, and for years they've been slandering, okay, changing up the doctrine just to be teaching Yahushua, all right, in contention. Just to be different, just to try to be deep. Okay, so these guys have not shown any mercy. Okay, so when judgment comes, they want all the mercy. It don't work like that, man. Let's read this again in NLT. James 2 and 13. There will be no mercy for those who have not shown mercy to others. Okay, but if you have been merciful, the Most High will be merciful when he judges you, man. So that's why we have to always remember mercy, man, in certain situations. All right, and mercy does run out, and the Lord has mercy whom he wants to have mercy, man. Okay, so this whole thing, like this guy, like I say, they trying to collar this man, and, all right, and this is what made Jake worse, man. Okay, like I say, the way Eve, raised them sons, to where you can't say nothing to them. They can't do no wrong. It's everybody else's fault in the situation but them. And them niggas get worse and worse by the month. Okay? And if this guy was to come back, he's going to be worse than before. Okay? So when you go here, all right, this 2 Samuel 7:14 says, I will be his father. Speaking of King Solomon, but we know in the spirit is ultimately speaking of Yahweh Shai. And he shall be my son. Okay. But it says, if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men. Let you know this is ultimately Yahweh Shai, because this didn't happen to King Solomon. Okay. You know, it says, and with the stripes of the children of men, but my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away, all right, before thee. All right. So the mercy, all right, wasn't going to depart from Yahweh Shai. Okay, like it did Saul, but he says mercy departed from Saul, man. Okay. So we know, all right, you 2 Samuel 7:14 is speaking of Yahweh Shai, which is all of our mercy, man. Okay, and the mercy that didn't depart from Yahweh Shai is imparted unto us, man, if we're of that number. Okay, so yep, you can remember this. You get this too. The water, bro, just a brother. All right, GMS through the fire, just the priest, Taza Mott, Shalom Makiah. This Habakkuk 3:2 says, "Oh Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid." You know, that's why it's best to move in the fear of Yahweh Shem Al Shai. You know, the fear that there's such thing as a healthy fear of Yahweh Shem Al Shai is good for our health. Okay, it says, "Oh Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, all right, make known." And see, the Lord is beginning to revive His work. He's He's getting ready to bring judgment to pass. You see that, like Eliashua woman say, this ain't like 10 years ago, 7 years ago. Like, nah, we gotta catch on quick. We can't be slack when it comes to making adjustment, because the Lord is reviving their work. Okay, it says, in the midst of the years, make known, all right, in wrath, remember mercy, man. And that's what we pray for, their mercy, okay, in wrath. Okay, but here it is, we have mercy every day. Okay, every day that is not judgment by default is mercy. Okay, judgment show up either in the form of correction or a form to destroy you, man. So while we have mercy day to day, that's the time to make the adjustments in the mercy, man. Okay, so we don't have to keep getting jacked up. Okay, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I'm gonna give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations, hopefully, shalom.